Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days in today's video. This is going to take us to around the 4th of August. So we're going into the final month of the summer with this update. Now, normally on a Tuesday, we'll have a look at CFS V2 for the next month. The weeklies that extend out over a monthly period. We normally look at those on a Tuesday and a Friday, but we can't look at them today because I haven't updated at the CFS website since the 22nd, since last week. So if I showed you those charts, I'll be showing you old sort of information. So we won't be including CFS V2 for the next month in this update. Sorry about that. Hopefully they'll be updated at the CFS website before too much longer. But we will have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. We're going to start off with the Central England temperature from Hadley. This is provisional up to yesterday, up to the 24th of July. We currently stand at 17.3 degrees, which is an anomaly of 1.3 degrees above average. So it's still running over a degree above average, but perhaps not quite as big an anomaly as you would have expected. And I think by the time you get through to the end of the month, because we normally get a little bit of a downwards correction with these numbers anyway. So by the time we get through to the end of the month, I suspect we're probably going to come out under 17 degrees actually for July C2, which will still be warmer than average, but maybe not as warm as we would have thought a week or two ago. We are going into a slightly cooler period now. The reason we're going into a slightly cooler period is that we've got unsettled weather coming in from off the Atlantic Ocean. So I'll have a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts for the next week to 10 days, and this shows the unsettled weather. We've got the GFS here on the bottom, and the ECWF, which you'll have a look at in a moment, is on the top. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet is an area in the actual high pressure, low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream running above. Blue extrapolates to low pressure, and orange and yellow and red extrapolates to high pressure. So the GFS has this deep trough here around and to the north and west of the UK, with the jet stream indicated by the black lines coming across the Atlantic into Europe and through the UK. So that looks unsettled. You'd expect bands of rain to be getting thrown in across not just the UK but many northern western parts of Europe with that, and also relatively cool as well, because at this time of year an Atlantic pattern is going to be much cooler than a continental pattern. It's the reverse, of course. In winter, you get an Atlantic pattern. In winter, it's going to be much warmer than a continental pattern. But at this time of year, no, an Atlantic wind or Atlantic flow, especially when you've got a deep trough as well, is going to be relatively cool. So we are in for quite a coolish end to July and start to August. ECWF is very similar. Again, we've got this trough here closer to the country, maybe not quite as deep with the trough as the GFS, but low pressure is in control coming in off the Atlantic with the jet stream as well. And they both imply that we're going to have quite a coolish and unsettled end to July and start to August. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. So red line here is a 30-year upper air temperature average. We're going to be a little bit warmer than average in the next 24 hours. It is quite pleasantly warm today, and tomorrow will be fairly warm as well, but that's associated with an area of low pressure. It's going to give quite wet and windy weather. But once that's cleared through, we go cooler than average by Thursday, and then really the idea is just to keep things generally on the cooler side as we're going through the end of week into weekend and even into the start of next week. Looks like the upper air temperatures are staying more or less on the cooler than average side. Going into the second week of August, which you can do now with this ensemble, and you see again no real sign of a warm up. It looks like we stick close to average, maybe a little bit on the cooler side of average, and quite unsettled too. And that's typified by the rainfall spike. So there's tomorrow's wet weather coming in to west. This is the ensemble for Manchester, by the way. So we've got the rainfall spike coming into the west tomorrow, and then after that, just regular rainfall spikes coming through really throughout the ensemble, indicating an unsettled period with showers or longer spells of rain being thrown in from off the Atlantic. So summer is definitely on hold for the time being. There's no sign of a return to anything extendedly warm or dry at this stage. Of course, we may get that appearing quite quickly. It can very quickly change the weather, but at this point there's no sign of a quick return to summer. It looks like summer is going to be on hold into August. Temperature anomalies for the next week. This takes us from the 25th of July through to the 2nd of August. Overall, a little bit on the cooler than average side, you would have to say, not just for the UK, but for much of Northern and Western Europe. So, Republic of Ireland, for example, cooler than average, which is France, cooler than average. Parts of Belgium and Holland coming out a little bit cooler than average, and even Germany a little bit cooler than average as well. The warmth is really in the far north, across northern parts of Scandinavia, and then down the eastern side and through the Med, Spain and Portugal remain significantly warmer than average. They've had a very hot summer down there. Precipitation anomalies for next week. This goes from the 25th of July to the 2nd of August again. And we're coming out wetter than average across many northwestern parts of Europe. So cool and unsettled is the signal as we're ending July and going into the start of August. This is the high point of summer, really. These next couple of weeks generally, on average, will produce the highest temperatures for the year overall. But looks like this year is going to be really quite cool and unsettled as we end July and start August. Over in America, we've got continuation, really, of the east-west split that we've seen all summer. So temperature anomalies are looking cooler than average across many eastern parts of America, and that's been the case through much of the summer. Out in the west, though, looking very significantly hotter than average. And it's the same story, really, for precipitation anomalies for next week. This takes us from the 25th of July to the 2nd of August. And we find that many western parts of America are coming out wetter than average. I think that's mainly down to thunderstorms, which will be very violent thunderstorms as well, severe storms. Over in the east of America, it's generally a little bit drier than average. So where it's cooler, it's a bit drier. Where it's hotter, it's a bit wetter. Quite interesting what's going on there. So we'll have a look at the GFS then, and this is how things are looking on Friday. Low pressure is out to northwest of Scotland, and we're bringing in a showery sort of westerly flow across the country into the weekend, and we keep it unsettled. Really low pressure, never too far away. We perhaps try and build a little bit of a ridge down across France, which might bring some slight drier and warmer weather to the south and southeast. But overall, it's a westerly flow. You can expect showers, quite coolish temperatures as well. No real change into the start of next week. This takes us to Tuesday the 1st of August, a week away, of course, and low pressure is still heading in off the Atlantic, still bringing, no doubt, showers, if not longer spells of rain as well. And then into the second half of next week, well, again, we tried to get a bit of a ridge going across France. I was trying to pull some hotter air up into south, or at least some warmer air into the south. But really, it's still this low pressure in the Atlantic that's controlling things. So, very quickly, any warmth that we do try to pull up into the southeast is likely to be cut off by the westerly flow returning around that area of low pressure. And that is how things are looking on day 10, which is Friday the 4th of August. And to be honest, it does look quite unsettled still, especially up to the north. East WF looks like this. So on Saturday, low pressure's bearing down on the country. We'll perhaps certainly have showers with that. Might even be some longer spells of rain coming through as well. Those unsettled conditions continue through the rest of the weekend. Into the start of next week, low pressure again is coming in off the Atlantic, no doubt bringing some showers and longer spells of rain. And then we go to a week away, which is Tuesday the 1st of August, and it still looks unsettled. Low pressure out to the northwest, bringing in showery bands, fairly coolish sort of temperatures as well. There's no real change as we run up towards day 10 and get to day 10. It does look unsettled. We're, again, same as with being GFS, really. We're trying to build up a little bit of a ridge across France, trying to bring hotter air up from Spain and Portugal into France. And the far south might be starting to warm up a little bit. There's your air temperature showing warm air is on the doorstep, but essentially it's still the coolish sort of westerly flow that's in control, and it might be quite wet, that, because I think we could well have a weather front strung out there to the south of it, of course, we are bringing up those warm southerly winds, or warmer southerly winds, very cool northwesterly winds on the northern side of that front. So there's a big temperature contrast, and along that temperature contrast, there could be quite a lot of rain. Now, where things go beyond that into the second week of August, it still is quite uncertain. It would have been helpful if we were able to see the CFS V2 for the next month to decipher where things might go as we get deeper into August. It's very, very possible that we'll get deeper into August and summer will come back with a vengeance. But at this point, summer is on hold. We're in for a unsettling, coolish. We've talked about this a lot in the videos lately, so no surprise. We're in for a coolish and unsettled end to July. It's going to extend certainly into the opening days of August. And it's just a case of waiting to see whether summer is going to come back as we get deeper into August. CFS would have been helpful on that, but we haven't got it. So tomorrow we'll have a look at the Beijing Climate Centre for the next 40 days, as well as the 5-day forecast, always on a Wednesday, do your 5-day forecast. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.